Hello, a very good morning. Welcome along to Ireland Dame on Virgin Media 1. It is Wednesday, the 6th of December.
That snuck up, hasn't it? It's the 6th of December.
Get the decorations up if they're not up already.
It's happening, it's happening, it's happening. Do you know what? Let's distract Tommy. We've got lots coming up this morning. Let's take a look.
We sure have. First up, and I'm sure a lot of people know this, Irish consumers are expected to spend less, really, but borrow more this Christmas. We are going to be talking money worries. We're going to be tackling financial pressure with Owen McGee. And if you need advice, if you want to ask a few questions, let us know. 0896 111 111. How are you finding it with the price of everything right now?
And we were talking about the amount of stuff that's being bought for children, the amount of presents. Like, what do you do there? Like, what do you do? We'd love to hear from you if you've got anything on that today. And I think we've all seen this at this stage, off the back of one pub's heartwarming ad highlighting loneliness at Christmas. If you haven't, we'll show it to you in a while. We'll be learning how to cope if you're feeling isolated at this time of year.
Plus, if you are on Santa's naughty list, we have got some toys to spice up your love life this festive period. That's at 9:20.
I can feel you going puce from the inside out.
Embarrassed already.
Can you guess what we're going to be looking at a little bit later on? Alan's well up for it. Hi.
What kind of toys, Tommy? Go on, tell us.
You gotta find out at 9:20 now.
Love it. Now, we've lots more on the show. We've got tips to keep your pet safe during the winter break. Plus, we're showing you what to wear if you're going to a festive brunch. And speaking about food, look who's back. It's Jack O'Keefe.
You should have had a box for me just to hop out of.
The wedding's over, the glow is gone. The ring is there.
It's going to be so weird cooking on TV with that on.
Congratulations. Tell us, what are you doing this morning?
So we're going roasting off some Irish Camembert until it's saucy and melted, and then we're going to get some ciabatta, roast it off with rosemary, loads of garlic, drizzle it with balsamic, some fig chutney, some walnuts, and we're going to dip into it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's exciting.
There, Tommy's very excited about it. Now, our very own Derek is down in the Dublin Docklands this morning. What's happening today? Very exciting, Derek.
I am indeed. Welcome down here to Grand Canal this morning. Now, in terms of weather, it's a wet start through the northwest at the moment, but in fact, it's going to be a much milder day, but a very wet and a very windy day in store with some thunderstorm activity. And would you believe, a risk of spot flooding? Yeah, you heard me correctly, through parts of Munster and in across the southeast later on today. But you may recognise where we're at this morning, because Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, it's a brand new musical kicking off in the board. Gosh, so coming up later on this morning, we're going to be meeting the cast and crew. We're going to be threading the boards, catching up with Willy Wonka, some Oompa Loompas, and a big old furry squirrel. In that order. I've a feeling it's going to be one of those mad mornings.
No better man to be over it.
A squirrel and Charlie and the... Is it like that bit in Love Actually where there's an octopus or whatever inside the nativity?
Listen, we're looking forward to catching up with you a little bit later on, Derek, and no doubt we'll see a performance of some sort.
Now, coming up next, you might have seen this yesterday, Minister for Justice Helen McEntee, she won a vote of no confidence in the Dáil last night as Mary Lou McDonald was accused of misleading the Dáil. Yeah, we'll take a look at how it all played out yesterday.
We sure will. That plus all the other big stories making this morning's headlines. Just come join us after the break.
Time now to take a look at this morning's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. Its headline: Civil society groups to consider approach to referendum. Key civil society groups will consider their approach to two referenda on family and care after there was a lukewarm reception to the wording for a new constitutional article on the role of carers.
Low interest rates drive surge in credit union mortgages. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Credit unions are experiencing a massive demand for mortgages, with new figures showing a 50% rise in lending among members last year to €500 million. Some credit unions are offering their customer home loans with rates as low as 2.95%.
The Examiner's front page: oil and gas here to stay, producers tell COP28. Fossil fuel giants have insisted that oil and gas use cannot be phased out, even as climate data confirms 2023 as the warmest year ever, with ominous signs the world is heading to a 2 degrees Celsius increase that scientists say will bring disaster.
The Mayor goes with Molly could have walked free today. Jason Corbett's family believe his killers would be free today had the release date not been revealed.
The Sun also leads with our Molly jail release nightmare.
The Star similarly leads with no more mollycoddling. Jason's sister Tracy spoke about how Molly and Tom Martin's orphaned her brother's 2 children, Jack and Sarah.
The Herald's front page, woman arrested over €157 million drugs haul. Detectives investigating the state's largest ever drug seizure have arrested a woman in Dublin who is suspected of having a significant logistical role connected to the smuggling operation.
And last but not least, sack, sue and bully. It's the Sinn Féin mantra is the top story on the Daily Mail. Sinn Féin's attempt to remove Justice Minister Helen McEntee spectacularly backfired last night, with the main opposition party being hit by a series of scathing political attacks.
And that is exactly where we're kicking things off today, as the drama unfolded last night in the Dáil following Justice Minister Helen McEntee's confidence vote. But who came out on top?
Well, Sinead O'Carroll from The Journal joins us now. Good morning to you, Sinead.
Hi, how are you?
Yes, we spoke about this yesterday. We believed that Minister McEntee would survive it, but she probably survived it in a very strong fashion.
Yeah, and this is how political drama plays out. We knew they had the numbers, so what the point of it is for everyone to get their speaking time and make the points that they want to make. So Sinn Féin had their playbook, Fine Gael had theirs, and everyone else in between had theirs. So it was actually a pretty tetchy affair last night, and we haven't had that in a while, because we're rumbling along to the end of this government, and sometimes there's a bit of jadedness felt around the Oireachtas, and that wasn't there last night. There was definitely a lot of feistiness.
Do you feel Sinn Féin spectacularly backfired, as we just said in the Daily Mail there?
I think that's probably a good headline, and I'm sure the Daily Mail have written through. I think probably there was a lot of strong pushback from the Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil benches, but similarly there was some good speeches from other people across the benches around the lack of Gardaí on the street, the lack of sense of safety that some people feel in Dublin. So a lot of it actually wasn't about McEntee herself, but then there was some missteps from Sinn Féin as well. So kind of a mixed bag, I think.
Yeah, we'd like to know what you think, because I think over the past 2 weeks it has been a lot of politics, a lot of punching, and you're like, lads, but what's actually happening? Yeah. We're all on the ground and we're the ones who are walking around the place. 0896 111 111. We're going to show you some of the exchanges last night, because it was fairly testy. This is what Mary Lou McDonald had to say about the Justice Minister, Helen McEntee. Let's have a quick look.
Over the course of Fine Gael's 12 years in government, people have been robbed of their safety. Garda stations have been closed or put on reduced hours. Community Garda numbers have been decimated. Gone are the days of the Garda on the beat, the very bedrock of effective community policing. And this has contributed to a general feeling of lawlessness and an unsafe environment. The response of government has been, at best, to skirt around the problem, and at worst, to completely abandon these communities.
Yes, there is what Mary Lou had to say. We might as well just go straight to listen to what the Minister said, Justice Minister Helen McEntee said about sack, suing and bullying Sinn Féin.
Deputy MacDonald wants to fire the Garda Commissioner. Deputy O'Brien wants to fire civil servants who disagree with him. When we need calm heads, when our own citizens are in trouble abroad, they want to expel ambassadors. When journalists report facts freely and fairly, what do? They sue. Anyone in their own party with an independent thought is bullied until they comply or leave. It might surprise Deputy MacDonald to know that this is not an episode of The Apprentice. You can't fire your way out of a situation. It's a serious business that requires judgment and leadership qualities she and her party repeatedly failed to show.
Sorry,
so there we have it. We're discussing. From Minister McEntee, she's been under a lot of pressure the last couple of weeks. I was very impressed with her yesterday. I thought she spoke very well. She was quite clear about what she wanted. But overall, this is a big, big picture she has on her table at the minute.
Yeah, and I think when you look at, I think probably the bit that lands for the ordinary person, like you were saying, Muireann, is the Gardaí stations closing, the lack of hours that the public have to Garda stations, and the feeling that there are fewer Gardaí on the street. I think like some of it was probably over-egged, and I was asking people over the last 24 hours who I know live in Dublin city centre how they feel, and did the ever-present hum of menace, risk and an overriding lack of personal safety. That's what Mary Lou said. Do people feel that? I live in Dublin city centre. I don't feel that, but also would I like to see more guards walking the streets? Yeah, I walked home at 11 o'clock last night, didn't see a guard. Would it be nice to? Yes, definitely. So I can kind of see both sides in terms of what landed then yesterday with people. I think a lot of people agree with McEntee in that you don't always want heads to roll. We saw that on the Sunday Independent poll. There was over 50% of people wanted her to remain in her position.
Absolutely.
I think people want to see policies. Last night, I was a bit disappointed that there was very little talk of policy, and there was very little talk of actually two things started this. So one was the absolutely horrific stabbing. And the second thing was the riots that then ensued. But the riots ensued because of agitation by people who are racist, anti-immigrant and xenophobic. So
and fed up. And
no, the agitation. So the people, the agitators. And they agitate to get the people. And this was a playbook that has, there was 10 set on fire on Sandwich Street. So we knew that this was happening. And,
it's a centuries-old playbook.
And this could escalate. So there was very little talk last night of how the Gardaí are dealing with those agitators. Paul Murphy brought it up, but other than that, and I think that's a place where we can criticise Gardaí. Gardaí can't do anything about their numbers. They can only work with what they're working with. But that was a point that I thought could have been raised more yesterday, because that's what happened on Thursday.
There was, just very quickly, we don't really have time for it, but this is, Mary Lou said something that was misleading last night in the Dáil. And this was about the government not meeting anyone from the school.
Yeah, I thought this
was involved.
Yeah, this was a strange thing.
We'll take a look at the clip. We'll just have a quick look,
It took nearly 2 weeks for government to reach out to the school community. Many parents tell me that they feel forgotten, vulnerable and afraid. They are angry. Those who live...
Sorry, but... What's the point of order?
The Leader of the Opposition has quite disgracefully misled the Dáil. There was contact from government with the school within 24 hours of the events. Several ministers did so. She knows that. It's deliberate misleading, and it should be withdrawn. And I call on her to be decent for once and withdraw it.
OK, can you talk us through that? What's going on?
Yeah, it was an unusual thing for her to say. So we heard it, and obviously you hear the exchange was, immediately the other side of the benches were kind of in uproar. So we had a look, and I kind of went back immediately and said, that doesn't sound right, because we know what was happening in the 24 hours afterwards. We had a Department of Education statement at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon after it happened to say NEPS, the psychology service, had gone into the school, and that was coordinated obviously by the Department of Education, and that was a statement from Minister Norma Foley. And then Minister Norma Foley went on Morning Ireland the following morning and said that she had been speaking to the principal. So obviously within the first day, less than 24 hours, she had been speaking to the principal. So it was a very unusual thing for Mary Lou to blatantly say when it obviously could be corrected. Now, last night a Sinn Féin spokesperson told us in the Journal that what she meant was that none of the ministers had met parents. Now, that's not what she said in the Dáil, but she's clarified last night.
For somebody who is so over everything, Sinn Féin, like we're seeing their numbers slide that bit in the polls at the minute. And are they losing a bit of a grip at the minute? Are they?
Well, when we've got untruths flying all around the place over social media.
Yeah, I think it was saying something that's obviously misleading, not clarifying what you meant, and then it was misleading at all, not clarifying or correcting the record, and politicking around an issue that is incredibly sensitive.
Absolutely.
Like there is a service put into that school, which is who is meant to be talking to the kids and the parents, a psychology service. I'm sure some parents would like to meet ministers, but it's actually not the most important thing. So I think the politicking of the issue is something that maybe it's being done because there are opinion polls that are showing Sinn Féin's popularity has dropped slightly, and it might be a response to that, but it would be an irresponsible response to that.
Yeah, we'd love to know what you think. 0896 111 111. Our 7 other stories we were meant to get to, we're not.
Yeah, it is very interesting.
Thank you. Cheers.
Sinead, pleasure. Great to have you with us.
Thank you so much, Sinead. Cheers. We'll be back with you on Ireland Day in just a minute.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, families will need to cut back this Christmas, according to a new research carried out by CCPC this week.
Here to discuss how we can spend less this Christmas, it's financial advisor Owen McGee. Owen, thank you so much for that. It's like we're telling people, you should spend less. We're not doing that. If you spend as much as you want, if you have it. But almost a third of consumers are set to borrow money to fund Christmas.
Yes.
I'm assuming you're going to say that's not a good idea.
No, I tell you what it is. I'm always afraid when I get on the TV or I'm on the radio or I'm on Instagram, I'm talking about cut back for Christmas. It's real bah humbug and I come across as the Grinch. I agree with you, Mirren. I think what you need to do is you need to spend Christmas. Spend Christmas the way you want to spend it, but spend whatever money you have available to you to enjoy it. But don't wake up in January with a financial hangover. It's bad. January is bad enough without carrying the burden, the financial burden of overspending or splurging on Christmas, that you're waking up to an awful credit card bill or an overdraft or just a bigger problem in January than you already had in December. So you have to be careful about the way you spend, and the only way you're going to be careful is to plan it out.
Yeah, and for people then who need to borrow some money maybe over for the Christmas, just to get them over the Christmas period, is it credit unions? Would that be what you would suggest?
Yeah, and what I would say
but you're
is,
saying a big credit card. You're not saying spend it all on the credit card, because that's a huge bill in January you don't need.
Yeah, so what I would say is, in general, whether it's Christmas or holidays or whatever it is that when you're borrowing money, the easier it is to borrow the money, the more expensive it's going to be. So like a credit card, you just tap, you've just borrowed money. That's going to be expensive, typically 20, 22%. Some of the online, you know, we won't mention any names here, but you know the thing that used to come through the door, the catalogue that used to come through the door that now is all online? That company and those companies like that, they're like 42, 43%.
Oh, wow.
They are massive. They can be really, really high percentage points. Like, because you're just typing away and you bang and you hit it and you can get it really easy. So the easier it is to get the loan, the more expensive it is. And that's why, like, mortgages are the cheapest loans you'll ever get, because it's the hardest one to get. They really put you through the mill. So what I would say is for the 1/3 of people who are going to borrow, do it in a planned way. Don't do it on Christmas Eve, just tap it on the credit card or go into the overdraft. What you need to do is you need to say, right, sit down today and say, who am I buying for? Who are the people who I have left to buy? How much money have I got in my account? And I mean pen and paper. Mirren, Alan, whoever else. This is the people I want to buy for. And then put the amount that you're going to buy. Now, I'm not talking about a target. I'm talking about a limit. 50 quid, 30 quid, and make sure you stick to it.
But we were talking earlier on, of course, with inflation, the thing is that people are going to be borrowing more but spending less, because inflation, everything is more expensive. And, you know, there's just so much stuff. Can I ask you real quickly, because we were discussing this before, and it's a company, you know, that those things you pay in 3, like Klarna?
Buy now, pay later,
Yeah, those 3 things, is that bad?
Yeah, I tell you what it is. So the concept of this, and people will see them, you walk into a shop or even online now, it's really in your face.
Huge.
Do you want to spread this over the next 3 months instead of paying for it up front today? The reality is, if you can't afford it today, you can't afford it. Okay? So some of these will say 0% interest. That's great. And if you stick to the T's and C's and you don't go outside their parameters, you probably will end up with 0%. But it's so easy to get this. It's so easy. And when you go wrong, that's when the penalties and interest start kicking in. And so people, and often people will end up with 5 and 6 of these without even realising it.
That they're doing it and they're paying it back. Yeah. Now, for 73% of people said that they were going to dip into their savings to get over Christmas. Good idea if you've been saving for Christmas. Not a great idea if you're saving for your mortgage.
Isn't that what they're for?
Yeah, well, sorry, that's the point. Sorry,
if you're saving for Christmas, but not if the money is for the mortgage.
Sure, payment and mortgage. I'm joking. Sorry, it's just me.
I think, Alan, you've hit the nail on the head there, right? What I would love people to do is to say, right, start today. You should have probably started 2 weeks ago, but start today. Every time you spend money on Christmas, whether it's extra on the groceries, whether it's the nights out with work or nights out with pals, whether it's gifts, whatever it is, the taxi home after the night out, right, just take out your phone, go into notes and say, Christmas spend, taxi, Christmas spend, gift. 10th, 15th of January, look at your list and look, oh, you know what? I think the research suggests Christmas gifts, we're going to spend about 600 quid this year on gifts, right? But Christmas in total cost me, let's round the numbers, €1,000, and I'm making that number up. Cost me €1,000. Now what I'd love you to do is set up a space, a wallet, a vault, you know, these things in your fintech accounts, where you put €100 a month aside. So on the 1st of November next year, you're going to have
your €1,000 to spend for Christmas.
If that's the savings that 73% of people are dipping into, their vault that's called Christmas, great. But if they're dipping into my week away in July next year savings to pay for
my
Christmas,
mortgage in January,
that's a problem.
We'd love to hear from you. How much do you reckon you're spending on Christmas this year? And is it the sort of thing you can afford, or are you dipping into savings or on credit? 0896 111 111. We've got questions and a very short amount of time. Catherine, how do you tell people like your neighbours, friends, or even extended family that you can't afford to buy them presents this year? I'd say a lot of people are in this situation.
Like this can be the hard, honest conversation. I just can't afford it. And you know what? Your neighbours, your friends, your pals are probably going to appreciate that conversation. And you just need to bite the bullet and say it. Or else you can say, you can be much more softer about it. If you don't want to be really kind of, I can't afford it this year and isn't it difficult, you can turn around and say, listen, would we just skip each other this year? Just for this year, we've a lot of things going on, or I've new nieces and nephews or whatever it is, and just take a skip of it this year. And that I guarantee you the other person is going to be just as happy to get out of it as you were.
Yeah. Chris here, I think that my daughter is spending a ridiculous amount of money on her children. There's presents everywhere. They don't care about any of them. What can I do to tell her to stop?
I think the message for this person and for everybody out there, and I challenge either of you to tell me 3 gifts that you got last Christmas. I bet you can't tell me 3 gifts that you got last Christmas. Maren can.
I'm tight like a tiger.
Maren can remember everything. Everything the housemate bought her.
I get to wear a lot of it, you see.
My point is, most people, everyone except for Maren in the country, will by the 1st of March forget. They might remember one gift they got, right? But, and I know this is very, let's all hug each other, you remember how you felt on Christmas Day. You remember if you had a good Christmas last year or a bad Christmas. By the 1st of March, you will not remember the physical things. You'll remember how it felt.
But the thing is, and even now, even try and plan it now in advance and go and spend a little over the next 2 weeks rather than going out Christmas Eve, because you do overspend on Christmas Eve because it's panic buying.
Christmas, I used to work in a jeweller's on Henry Street on Christmas Eve, and please let me
I'll pay whatever.
I'll get you points after.
Throw money at the problem. Owen's podcast is called Understanding Money. You'll be able to find it wherever you get your podcasts. Owen McGee, financial advisor. Thank you for joining us this morning. Back with you in Ireland Day in just a minute.
Thanks for staying with us. Jack O'Keefe's in the kitchen this morning. Remind us what we're going to be cooking a little later.
So we're taking some of this lovely Tipperary-style Camembert, or you could use brie at home.
Right.
And we're going to pop it into the oven until it's melted, oozy. Before I actually put it into the oven, I'm going to rub it with some fig jam.
Of course you are.
And then bake it for 15 to 20 minutes until it's all melted. While we're off here, I'm actually going to start grilling up these lovely ciabatta toasts, and we're going to dip them into it then after.
Lovely.
Oh, it's going to be epic.
Tommy's
I'm so excited.
mouth-watering already, aren't you, Tommy? That's coming up later.
Oh, my goodness, I cannot wait for that. Now, the pursuit of perfection at Christmas can be pretty tiresome. So why do we stress ourselves out trying to achieve it?
Just be perfect all the time, like himself. I mean, you'll be fine.
From it.
Helping us to try and understand is psychotherapist Coleman. Dr. Coleman, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're not making this up. This isn't something we're being fed by American TV movies. What is this pursuit for perfection at Christmas? Why do we have it?
It's a hugely stressful time, and I think everyone, Christmas is marketed as kind of magical moments, and so you're trying so hard to create these magical moments. And because it's only one day of the year, people want to get it right. And I oftentimes say, perfectionism is driven by a fear of getting it wrong rather than a desire to get it right.
Okay.
So it's much more an anxiety-driven thing. But what you don't understand is in the pursuit of perfection, you almost are assured that you'll cause stress for other people. Because the higher the expectation, the greater level of disappointment. And so if you want to create this magical moment, you kind of going around shouting at your children, it's magical, be magical, enjoy it. That's not fun for anyone, But we are sold, it's not so much the Hollywood movies, it's even all the advertising campaigns. It's all about the sun returning from abroad or the train set in the morning or,
It's social media, like you see on everybody's social media, put up the lights and they look beautiful, or you've got loads of people always coming over to visit the house and it has to be perfect. And the pressure and stress this puts under so many people at this time of year when it's already a stressful period.
Yeah, and again, I think if you're hosting, there's a lot of pressure in that, because you don't want to get it wrong, you don't want to burn the turkey or whatever, and so you're there is almost that pressure of performance in that. And as you say, the Instagram piece.
And it looks the part,
and again, I suppose all of that is mounting pressure for you to provide this performance. And if it's all coming down to one day, then there's a greater deal of stress involved in that. And there's other people as well. But I can remember, we all fall foul of it. A few years ago, I remember getting toy show pajamas for the kids, and my eldest lad was real itchy in it, and I was there going, no, just get on your own pajamas. There's a kind of a sense of you kind of get caught up in the moment of it, or the expectation of it.
There's the keeping up with the Joneses, that sort of stuff, right? That's going on there. And of course, the rise of commercialism and consumerism, like it's been there, but it is markedly different from when we were young. You know, we're just talking to Owen McGee and he was just like, in March, think back to what you got for Christmas. You're not going to remember anything. That is tied into it, isn't it? Like the consumerism, commercialism of it all now.
Oh, it is. And again, you know, the consumerism is driving you towards this magical perfection moment.
Yeah.
Perfection is forgettable. You know, you forget that. Like, the Christmases that you remember are most likely things that went wrong. You know, going into the oven at 10 o'clock and finding the stuff in there that we never ate. Or, like, I don't remember every present I ever gave my mother, but I remember
or
the
your
Christmas...
brother plugging out the freezer the day before to plug in his drum set or his amp.
Exactly. I remember the Christmas, myself and my two sisters all gave my mum the same present. You know, in terms of we all had the same book.
It is true. It's actually the mistakes, the funny moments of the bits that you remember, as opposed to the perfect Christmas dinner that we put so much stress into.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of, what are you trying to achieve here? Are you trying to achieve something that's perfection but forgettable? Or are you almost, and the way to manage that is to manage your expectations. Expectations minus reality equals happiness. You can't change reality, you can only change expectations. So shifting that and saying, look, things will go wrong. This isn't going to be perfect. If you have small kids, they're not going to be in good form all day. They're going to get tired. There's going to be rows over things. There's going to be those hiccups along the way.
Yeah.
Expect them and embrace them.
It's easy saying that, manage. Listen, like, say me talk to my wife, like, the in-laws are coming over, we have lots of people come to visit. Me trying to sit down and say to her, just manage your expectations, you know, might not work well. Like, what is a good way to approach this topic? What's some good advice, even, that you would offer people who do get really stressed this time of year?
It's a kind of a difficult one, because oftentimes if there is a person who's kind of busy doing the organising, your offer of help is oftentimes declined. You know, there's a kind of I feel I need to control of this sort of stuff. But then when you're sitting in the TV while everyone's really busy, they feel you know, there's that martyr complex.
Oh, it's grand for you sitting on the sofa.
But it is about offering them, you know, do you want a hand with anything? I'll give you a dig out with that. But it is about, you know, trying to, I would say, do you want to sit down on Christmas night and say, thank God that's over? Or do you want to sit down and go, that was a lovely day?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Can I ask you, what was the book you all got your mother? Can you remember?
Oh, it was some sort of a holy book. I think
was it?
The 4 to 7 Zone by Coleman Doctor.
Coleman Doctor. That's what it should be.
That's this year.
There was one year my dad got 8 copies of The Guard on DVD and we just couldn't stop. Everyone came back.
What a present.
We were done. And I was like, don't watch that, Dad. Don't watch it.
That movie.
Yours always writing in the Irish Examiner makes us all calm. And the 4 to 7 Zone. Great present.
A great present, absolutely. It does make you pull it in, all right. Coleman, thank you, as ever.
Pleasure, guys. Thanks.
Listen, and we'd love to get your opinion on this as well. It is coming up to a fairly stressful time of the year. Are you able to relax and actually just enjoy it, or will you be up to 90?
And what are the disasters that you remember? Can you let us know that? Like, you know, when someone really messed up and you all laughed about it and it's the thing you always
Pouring the
bring up.
gravy through the sieve but forgetting to put a bowl under it. Down the sink. There you go.
0896 111 111. Please send us in the disasters that have become family lore. We'd love to hear from you.
This morning, we're going to be talking loneliness in later life and how to combat it.
Plus, he's our very own Oompa Loompa. Derek is auditioning for the stage adaptation of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I was wondering where that was going. We'll be talking to you very shortly on Ireland AM.
Good morning, you are very welcome back. We've lots more still to come between now and 10 o'clock to keep you entertained.
First up, Christmas is said to be a time for connecting with friends and family, but it can also be a time of loneliness for so many people. We're going to be hearing from someone who has taken that on. They've put themselves out there and they've had absolutely great results. Talking about that very shortly.
I was actually speaking to somebody about something very similar to that just last night. Get in touch with us, 0896 111 111 if you are lonely. Now, from toxic treats to dangerous decorations, we are going to be helping you keep your pets safe this silly season.
Oh, good. And we've all heard of the toy show. Matching pajamas, sitting around by the tree. We're going to be bringing you something slightly different. It's just one word, but it changes everything.
It's a naughty one.
It's the sex toy show, everybody. Jenny Keane will be having her gift guide after 9 o'clock. You have been given plenty of warning now. No complaints. You don't have to watch it.
Yeah.
Fine. You have to watch it because you're going to be doing it.
Alan,
Dreading it.
let's get over to the kitchen. What's going on?
Would you give your new wife something like that?
Come on now.
What?
She might give me it.
Yeah, she might.
We're a modern couple.
Exactly.
You know what
there
I mean?
you go. That's what it's
after 9 last
I'm up for
night.
it.
It's all about.
After
Jack
9,
O'Keefe is here. Fabulous. This would actually be a lovely starter on Christmas Day because it's so easy.
And like the idea behind this is, you know, if you had friends and people call over to your house at Christmas time and they're looking for something to eat or something to nibble on while you're watching TV or having a glass of wine, bit of brie, bit of camembert, bang it in the oven 15 minutes, toast off some ciabatta or some sourdough like that, and then when it all comes out nice and melted, we can
the
dip.
smell of the garlic and
Am I
the
the
olive
only
oil
one?
there.
Am I the only one growing up that used to call these soldiers for your
Oh,
eggs?
for your eggs. Every soldier's
Grant,
and
I've
their
been saying
eggs,
to people, and they're like, you're weird.
No,
right,
everybody knows that. You
Well, I
put
am
your
weird.
soldiers and dip it into your nice runny egg. Okay, that's coming up a little later on. Now, Derek has got his golden ticket this morning. Derek, where are you?
Bang on cue, Al. Yeah, we have our golden ticket here this morning because we are bringing you behind the scenes of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the musical that is here at the Borgosh NG Theatre. And Dan, this is a massive production, isn't it?
Yeah, there's about 75 of us on the road, about 23 cast. We have over 300 costumes and about 90 wigs, so it gets pretty busy back there.
It gets pretty busy. And who does all the washing?
Well, that would be our brilliant wardrobe team.
All right, we'll have more from all the cast and crew a little bit later on this morning. But for now, I've got my Willy Wonka hat. Back to you in studio.
Oh, that was good.
It suits me, doesn't it?
That was smooth.
Oh, that was good.
Nice.
We didn't drop it.
One hand, very impressive, Derek. Thank you very much. And he's so delighted.
He's so into that.
Looking forward to catch up with Derek a little bit later on.
I'm meant to take a look at this morning's papers. We'll start with the Irish Times. Its headline, Civil Society Groups to consider approach to referendum. Key civil society groups will consider their approach to 2 referenda on family and care after there was a lukewarm reception to the wording for a new constitutional article on the role of carers.
Low interest rates drive surge in credit union mortgages. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. Credit unions are experiencing a massive demand for mortgages, with new figures showing a 50% rise in lending among members last year to €500 million. Some credit unions are offering their customers home loans with rates as low as 2.95%.
The Examiner leads with oil and gas here to stay. Producers tell COP28 fossil fuel giants have insisted that oil and gas use cannot be phased out, even as climate data confirms 2023 as the warmest year ever, with ominous signs the world is heading to a 2 degrees Celsius increase that scientists say will bring disaster.
The Mirror goes with Molly could have walked free today. Jason Corbett's family believe his killers would be free today had the release date not been revealed.
The Sun also leads with our Molly jail release nightmare.
The Star similarly leads with no more Molly coddling. Jason's sister Tracy spoke about how Molly and Tom Martins orphaned her brother's 2 children, Jack and Sarah.
The Herald front page, woman arrested over €157 million drugs haul. Detectives investigating the state's largest ever drug seizure have arrested a woman in Dublin who is suspected of having a significant logistical role connected to the smuggling operation.
And last but not least, sack, sue and bully. It's the Sinn Féin mantra. That's the top story on the Daily Mail. Sinn Féin's attempt to remove Justice Minister Helen McEntee spectacularly backfired last night, with the main opposition party being hit by a series of scathing political attacks.
And just on the front of the Irish Times as well, a picture of Rosemary Smith, the trailblazing
she
rally
died.
driver in Ireland. She was
86 years
86.
of age. Wow.
She was a wonderful woman, amazing to have chatted to so many times.
Yeah.
So sound. So our thoughts are with her family this morning. She was fantastic. Now, we were talking about saving for Christmas.
were
Thomas.
speaking
with
with
Owen
Owen
McGee
McGee.
earlier on about saving for Christmas, and I love this from Susan. My husband and I use Revolut to save €40 per week all year round for Christmas. It gives us a pot of €2,000 for spending on Christmas for gifts for family and friends. We never borrow. It works so well. But then, unfortunately, some people mightn't have the €40 a week to spare to save.
I know, but again,
it's
if
a
you
good
do-
idea. If you do, it's a great idea,
well
and that's
done.
what Owen was saying.
Being proactive.
If you can save that, and then that's your pot of money for Christmas, and you don't have to go and start borrowing anything. Brilliant
£2,000
idea.
for Christmas gifts. Fair play to you. Michelle says we have a budget of €25 per each member of the family, and you have to stick with it. So it's really funny and entertaining.
With inflation, you get about a penny sweet, don't you?
No, I think it's a good idea. I think that's
creative you can be.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's a really good idea. Just to say, lads, we set limits. It's €25, €30. No
I
presents
know,
over
but
that.
With my brother, like, Sorry, David, but I can, like, what am I going to get off him for 20? Like, it'd be like, oh, just, there you go.
There's 25
I'd be like, oh, here, look what I got you. So, yeah, they have to put a bit of effort into it too, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, when you think of something like that.
Don't they?
Yeah, because David's watching you this morning, is he? Sure he
No
is.
chance.
We were also chatting about the special moments that make Christmas with Coleman Noctor, our psychotherapist, and it's always kind of the disasters we were saying.
Yes.
We all kind of have one in our lives.
And we all put ourselves under so much pressure and stress with people coming over and expectation on Instagram. But it's actually not the perfect Christmas people remember, it's the mishaps.
Yeah. You were telling us about sieving.
I was telling a person I know that there was
Not
a lot
me.
of effort went into making the turkey, and they poured the turkey gravy into the sieve, but forgot to put the saucepan underneath it, all down the drain.
And Emma says the sieve thing, I've done it. It must be a Monaghan thing, Tommy, or cooking the ham. Or cooking the ham to bring to your sister's Christmas dinner and forgetting it, or completely forgetting to serve the ham another year. And the ham is the best part.
Imagine doing that. The ham's there and you're all so busy putting it out and you're sitting there going,
why does
something
this taste
missing?
different?
There's something missing on the ham.
This happened to me as well. Edward, my mother left the turkey in the kitchen. When she got back, she found the cat on the table eating the turkey.
I'm sure people have
We had that with the dog eating the ham. Yeah, absolutely.
Can you give us those Christmas disasters that make Christmas that you talk about for years? 089 611
Jack O'Keefe's got a good one for us.
He's got a very good one.
There's a great one from Tina, which we'll get to a little later
We'll
on.
be back with
as
you
well.
on Ireland AM in just a minute.
Good morning, you're very welcome back. Now, Christmas, we've been speaking about it a lot this morning, but it can be an isolating time for many people, and our next guest, Brendan, felt that way after his retirement.
Now, before we chat to Brendan alongside TCD's Chair of Medical Gerontology, Roseanne Kenny, let's take a look at an ad about loneliness. I think so many of us have seen it online. It's got an awful lot of people talking.
God knows what is hiding in those weak and drunken hearts. Guess he kissed the girls and made them cry, those hard-faced queens of misadventure. God knows what is hiding in those weak and sunken lines. Fiery thrones of muted angels giving love but getting nothing back. Oh, God knows what is hiding in this world of little consequence. Behind the tears, inside the lights, 1,000 slowly dying sunsets. God knows what is hiding in those weak and drunken hearts. Guess alone.
We're all chatting about it. That's Charlie's Bar in Enniskillen that got everyone chatting so simply and so beautiful. Hello, everyone. It's lovely to have you here.
Great to see you.
And to see you, and Roseanne, you're looking at that and you're kind of shaking along. But Brendan, that was something that really resonated with you, like so many people around the country, because you felt after retirement, you retired from the civil service and you felt lonely.
Yeah, my life totally changed. You know, I retired at 60, and for 2.5 years, I told everyone that asked me how retirement was, it's absolutely great, having a great time. So many things to do, playing pitch and putt, reading books that I never got around to reading, playing records that I never got around to playing. But I wasn't telling the full truth. I was absolutely big time feeling empty. I was looking for the Brendan Kilkenny who ran and set up 12 friendship clubs in the 90s, bringing people together, who was on 7 radio stations as a disc jockey, including Heartbeat, Dublin's Love Song Station. And where had that Brendan gone? And I finished up in Clonskee, 370 people I was around. They used to ask me every Friday, they used to ask me when people were leaving or birthday parties, would I go around the building and do speeches that weren't cut and paste, they were from the heart.
And what?
So suddenly I was by myself.
You were just by yourself?
By myself then, playing pitch and putt by myself, reading by myself, etc. I had a family, I had friends, I had some invitations to go back to my workmates. Wasn't enough. And I was at a crossroads in my life.
And I'd say, listen, this story resonates with an awful lot of people, Roseanne, because a study like you speak a lot about the impact loneliness has on your health in your book. But whenever I saw this EU-wide study, Ireland came out well above average in the more people being lonely. I'm surprised by that. Why is that?
Well, first of all, can I say thanks to Brendan? Because I think he's just highlighted very well what it's like to be lonely and how hidden it is and almost invisible, but yet how painful it can be. We've looked at loneliness. Look, the figures jolly around a little bit. Anything between 13 and 20% of people feel lonely about a third of the time. That's a lot. You know, we've evolved not to be lonely. We've evolved as gregarious animals. We need other people. Now, there are some people who prefer their own space, their own personality, without being too engaged with others, and that's fine because that's by choice. But if you feel uncomfortable by being alone, that's loneliness, and that's bad for us. It's bad for our physical health. And before we came on, I asked Brendan, "Did you feel pain when you felt loneliness?" And he said he did. He said he felt pain in his chest. And actually, it does manifest like that. It manifests with physical symptoms.
Can you go through some of those? Because I think that's one thing, the connections you're making there is fascinating.
Yeah.
What are some of the...
So you literally feel a pain in your chest, like a weight in your chest. Sometimes you've problems breathing. You feel like your head is fogged. You can't think straight. All of these are manifestations of the physical stress that loneliness induces. It actually causes a stress response. If you take monkeys, rhesus monkeys, and they're very close to us, share 91% of our genes, and you isolate a monkey for 48 hours, and then take biopsies of the lymph nodes in the neck, which are the engines for inflammation, the immune system. They have upregulated, after just 48 hours, genes which trigger bad inflammatory responses in the body, stress-related inflammation in the body just after 48 hours. Those genes have been upregulated. In other words, the body is producing inflammation, and it's the stress that loneliness induces which drives that inflammatory response. And that inflammation is the core to cancer, to heart disease, to strokes. It changes fibrinogen, which is the clotting factor in these monkeys, and makes them much more likely to have heart attacks and strokes. So that's the physical relationship between loneliness and an emotional response and the physical body reaction.
So it's not just feeling bad about yourself, it's actually can have an impact and lead to strokes, heart attacks, whatever else. Brenda, from that ad, we saw that man going to the grave. We saw him going to the pub on his own, having a pint. You went and played pitch and putt. You go for walks on your own. Do you find in this day and age people don't come over and talk? Like, we saw the couple, they come over and introduce themselves, and all of a sudden the smile came in his face. But I think the way the world is now...
Yeah, and so many people are like looking at their phones, etc., and whatever. But I think if you're feeling empty or you're feeling alone, even though it's very hard, it wasn't hard for me because I'm a fairly extrovert person, but what you have
never tell.
What you have to do is you have to, one, admit that you're feeling alone, and then two, you have to reach out. And basically speaking, what I did was I got out of my comfort zone. I was too soft. There was no adrenaline in my body. And basically, I went out and found an organisation called Friends of the Elderly, which basically changed everything. I went from a world where I was living in my own headspace to a world full of warmth, a world full of camaraderie, a world full of friendship. And the shocking thing is, and it's very, very important that I say this, I've been asked to say this, but basically speaking, Friends of the Elderly, they get no government support at all. So if there's anyone listening in who wants to make a donation, they can get through to friendsoftheelderly.ie or phone 8731 855.
And we see places like that as well. And, it's
and
the
I just
same
want to
as
mention...
We have it on screen. We have it all on screen.
See, a men's shed, there are a lot of organisations that do incredible work about bringing that together. Explain to me, when you left your job, 370 people in an office.
Yeah.
Did you feel these symptoms? Did you feel a pain? Like, did you sadness?
Basically speaking, no, because I was looking forward to retirement. Who wouldn't look forward? You're thinking to yourself, you've loads of time on your plate, etc. But I didn't realise how empty I would feel as regards having a big amount of people around me, a big community. 370 people. I got on so well out there. I had the time of my life out there. I adored the people. I thought the world of them. And suddenly, things were... Don't forget as well, I retired in the middle of COVID. And that's a huge thing today. But I just want to say as well, I'm a voice here today for Forgotten Ireland, for 3 sectors of Ireland who have been forgotten. The elderly, the lonely, and the retired.
And
basically, I'm not, and also, I want to kick down barriers. I want to kick down doors. The stigma of the word loneliness. There's a real stigma here. I'm not worried about stigmas. I'm worried about the person up in Letterkenny or down in Rosslare who is lonely. And I haven't even just come here, Merden. Just hang on a second, Merden. I haven't come here without a plan. I've got a 5-point plan how to get people out of loneliness. There probably isn't the time to discuss that.
But it's something that we do talk about a huge amount of time. And Roseanne, this is an area that you have been working in for so long. We're seeing more and more social isolation for people from their early 20s, their teenage years, all the way through. We're not... An awful lot of importance isn't placed on, going to the bridge club, going to the GA club, whatever, for an awful lot of people while they're working, because it's like, I'll do it at retirement. We're not preparing people for retirement.
So the Tilda research has very clearly shown that you need to prepare before you retire. That if you don't do things before you retire, you're much less likely to do them after you retire. And I think Brendan used the expression there, reach out. We can all reach out, even if you're not feeling lonely. If you reach out to somebody, they'll be very glad you've reached out to them, and you feel better.
But that's the issue, isn't it? That sometimes you just feel so isolated, and
That's
you're like,
the problem.
I can't. You're a bit mortified. You're a bit. I can't tell anyone.
You lose confidence when you're lonely, and then that's a vicious cycle, and it's very hard to reach out. So I think if everybody makes an effort to reach out, I did it myself during COVID to school friends that I'd never been in contact with for a couple of decades, and now we've got a group. So reach out, I would say, this Christmas.
Yeah.
They're all there going, is that who I think it is? Roseanne. Jeez, we'll say it all.
In all those podcasts. Roseanne Kelly, listen, pleasure to have you with us. Chief of Medical Gerontology at Trinity. Brilliant to have you with us. And Brendan Kilkenny, thank you so much for being so open and telling us. And I'd say this resonated with so many people watching here this morning. We are going
Thank you
into
so
Christmas.
much, guys.
And as Roseanne said, just reach out. Just, put that text out there and you never know what could come.
And fair play to Brendan for getting involved in those groups, 0896 111 111 to get in contact.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Sorry. Very welcome back. We're discussing a segment a little bit later on in the show. 9:20. You want to see it?
If you're hosting a Christmas party this year, you can't go wrong with some bread and cheese. Oh, well, you can go wrong with some bread and cheese.
No,
this is posh bread and cheese.
This is very fancy. Jack O'Keefe is here with a bit of a treat this morning. Camembert dip and ciabatta fingers.
See, I'm just warming you up for,
you are.
For an hour's
We're
time.
doing a sex toy, Christmas sex toys later on. That's what we were talking about.
So, Jack, you're all about the fingers, Christmas bread fingers here.
All right, let's talk about baguettes, right?
Yeah.
Sorry. So, yeah,
Soldiers, sorry.
Christmas starters, snacks for people coming over, watching movies or whatever. I have some beautiful Tipperary brie that is roast up. Guys, start eating.
Can we dip in? So this is what it's all about. You just dip in like this.
So, to create that, all we have to do is you have some brie or camembert, either two. Look, you can get it in every supermarket. You can use the French stuff or you can use Irish artisan versions of it. Now, Ideally, you should have a little tapas dish, you know, your little kind of crockery terracotta ones. You pop the cheese into it. Some of the cheese actually comes in the terracotta pot already.
How will you get up?
And you bake it into the oven, right? What I've done is, because with the whole moving house, leaving Kildare, going back to Cork, half my props and studio stuff is gone missing. So I'm going to use cookie cutters to cook my camembert.
Oh, cook it in that.
So pop it in like that, right? Before I do that, you just want to score the top of it a little bit. That just allows some flavour to go down deep into the cheese.
Okay.
Like so. Just roughly score it, right? Then I have some fig chutney, but you can use any kind of chutney. Just don't use strawberry or anything like that. Like a rhubarb.
Can I ask you a super question?
Yeah.
Are there different varieties of... I know it's camembert cheese, but can you get cheaper ones and dearer ones?
Yeah,
or...
you can.
Oh, you
yeah,
can.
Yeah, it's like wines, you know. You have the entry levels and then you go all the way up.
So
like,
would you say to buy a good one, or is it okay mid-level?
Mid-level for this, mid to budget for this, because as you add flavour to it, you're taking away.
Literally, the pancetta is the main.
It's like with whiskey or good wines. You don't put ice into it. You know what I mean? You don't dilute it because you're paying
put ice
the
into
money.
my wine all the time.
Anyway,
I'm just going to skip over that.
Don't be sticking
right? Fig
ice
jam
into this.
Fig jam on top of the camembert, like so, and that's it. Bang it into the oven, 180 for about 15-20 minutes. Keep an eye on it, and that's it, right? If it, and I serve it on the tray just like that, right? If you had a tapas dish, you can pop it onto a sharing board or something, right? Now, to go with it, we have some Parma ham or prosciutto, or you can use Serrano ham or whatever. I just line an oven tray, put the ham on it like that, into the oven with the cheese.
You have that on baking paper there?
On baking paper, but you don't need to. It just looks... The tray's a bit burnt and stuff, so it just looks better with the baking paper on it.
Okay.
Secrets of TV. And after about 15 minutes, you're left with these beautiful prosciutto crisps.
Crispy, yeah.
Like that, lovely and crispy, snap, crackle and pop.
Wow, yeah.
Right? Baguette then. So you can use a baguette, ciabatta, focaccia, whatever kind of stale bread you've knocking around. Cut it up into...
I've seen them, you can get like a round boule and you can kind of cut out the inside of it as well.
I was
and put it
going to do
inside.
that, and I was like, oh, it's a bit too
that's
TikTok.
fabulous. And you put it in the middle and it,
But you just didn't fancy that, did you know?
No,
that
I
was
really
too much work, wasn't it?
This is still delicious, fair play.
Cut up your soldiers, like so. And this is something you can do in advance and bang into the freezer as well. You can have these pre-cut and frozen, and you can toast them from frozen as well. In here, then, I just have some rosemary, some good olive oil, or you can use rapeseed oil, a garlic clove, and all I do is a bit of anger management therapy and just smash it, pop it in, stir it around, get it all nice and coated, and then just char grill it.
Onto the pan.
Now, you told me the last time you were here, because I used to buy olive oil, good olive oil all the time. You said rapeseed oil is good. So I've been buying rapeseed oil. It's much nicer, and it's exactly the same.
Yeah, I love rapeseed oil. What I always do, and I was actually having this chat at the cookery demo at the weekend, that I'll transition between different oils different times of the year. So during the summer, it's extra virgin olive oil all the time. And winter, what is it, Tommy? More butter, more better, baby.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
What is it?
More butter, more better. And rapeseed oil in the winter is lovely because it's nutty, it's rich, it's kind of, there's loads of omegas in it, and it just kind of makes you feel warm and cuddly. And you can cook steak in rapeseed oil because the rapeseed oil can go to an incredibly high temperature, doesn't catch fire, and won't smoke.
That's why I started buying, because you said it cooks. I never knew that olive oil doesn't get that warm.
Right, come on, let's pull it out here. So when do you put the prosciutto on it? Oh, you have done it already. Oh, look at that.
Here's one. After about 20 minutes in the oven, right?
Let's get rid of that one.
Right? The fig jam, you could use a rhubarb and chutney, rhubarb and ginger chutney, whatever you want. You could actually use Ballymaloe relish even on that.
Right.
It'd be class, right? Now, some crumbled up walnuts.
The thing there on that, the
crumbled, what's that, sorry?
Crumbled walnuts.
Okay.
The ham is not on that.
No, the ham is here. Look, this is the one I created earlier. And all I do then is I just grab it in my hands and just do that on top. It creates like a lovely crispy topping with the walnuts as well.
Okay.
Take some of your grilled garlic and rosemary bread, pop it randomly around.
And like 15 minutes. Don't put that on. Don't put that on.
Oh, do.
Some balsamic vinegar, or you can use sherry. Go on, get that dip action there now, look.
Oh, look at that.
Now, that's going to burn the mouth off you.
Oh.
And you just get your dip on then.
Get your dip on.
Yeah. Stir it all in.
Oh, my goodness.
Look, is that amazing? Yeah. Here, put that down here so we can get a shot of it.
That is.
And that's it, guys. Like, you can put some rocket or lettuce leaves with it, but you know me, I'm not healthy, so I'm not doing it.
It looks a bit messy, but it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Jack, thank you so much for that.
And congratulations.
Congratulations on the wedding.
2 months tomorrow.
2 months tomorrow.
Yeah. Can you see the crow's feet?
Great to see you again.
I'm telling you. Thanks so much for that. Now, after the break, Derek's taken to the stage and starring in his very own musical at the Board Gosh. See you in a minute.
Perfect coffee every time. Tassimo sponsors cookery on Ireland AM.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is a favourite childhood memory for many.
So this morning, Derek is at the Bord Gáis Energy Theatre in Dublin to meet Willy Wonka, Charlie and all of the cast of the hit musical.
Yes, he's getting an exclusive behind-the-scenes tour. Derek, are you... Look, he's in his
element already. Pom-poms are out.
And we'll be in a world of pure imagination. Have I got the gig? Dan.
Absolutely. When can you start?
Absolutely. Dan Gammon is with us now. You are the company manager. Dan,
right.
The first time we have Charlie and the Chocolate Factory here in Ireland.
Yes, it's my first time in Ireland as well, which is very exciting.
Which is great. Now, tell us a little bit behind the scenes, all the costumes, all the work that's involved to pull a big production like this together.
Yeah, so we have over 300 costumes, we have over 70 wigs, we have multiple departments, LX, video, sound, wardrobe, wigs departments. We use a combination of touring staff that we bring with us and local staff, so we have some of our Bord Gáis staff that do the dressing and stuff backstage, so it gets really busy back here.
Now, you have 29 actors in the cast, but you also have a big stage crew as well.
Yeah, there's about 75 of us on the road in total. There's a lot of people that travel with the show. Yeah.
And it takes, I believe, 3 days and 40 people to put this big production together.
Yeah, that's right. We have 3 days, and that includes overnights as well. So it's sort of an 8-hour get out from the previous theatre, and then we get in, and then it takes 3 days with tech rehearsals and all sorts of things before we're ready to go.
And as you said, these are all the costumes here. I mean, a lot of work goes in behind the scenes to get these ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got a huge team of wardrobe there. Absolutely brilliant. They're constantly working very hard to make sure everyone's clothed.
And I believe there's 72 loads of washing every day after each show.
There's a lot of washing.
There is a lot of washing. Anyway, we're going to walk and talk, and we're going to move out here to Garrett Snook, who's the actor, a.k.a. Willy Wonka.
Hello, how are you?
I can see that name in lights. Garrett Snook.
Yeah. Funny, so can I.
Yeah. Anyway, you've been in the game, Garrett, about 40 years, right?
That's right, just over 40 years. Don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
That's just between me and you, all right?
How did you get the role?
Well, I mean, it was quite... I know the director and the musical supervisor, and they called me in to see it, and I went back the next day, and, you know, a few days later they said, do you want to do it? So, I mean, Willy Wonka, who would refuse?
Who would refuse?
Absolutely.
And there is a lot of moving parts to this show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of moving parts. I mean, we just passing Augustus Gloop here. He had a little accident. People don't understand that chocolate factories are very dangerous places.
Yeah. But of course, you've got all the main characters. You've got the Oompa Loompas, you've got Charlie.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's amazing. I mean, the characters are so vivid. I mean, they're so colourful. And these kids who come to the factory are something else, you know. They're very entitled, and they're very, very selfish and a little bit stupid.
And do you enjoy the role?
Oh, I love it. I mean, Willy Wonka. I mean, he's fascinating, you know. He's got a wicked sense of humour, Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
You know, and he's a little bit unpredictable. So you've got to treat him with a little bit of care. You know?
But anyway, lots to look forward to. And finally, we're going to say hello to Isaac Sugden. And Isaac, a.k.a. Charlie, are you the youngest member of the cast, Isaac?
Charlie's. But
Now, tell us, how did you get the role? How did you get the gig?
So it started last year in Leeds, and they narrowed it down from just over 600 children. And we did the show in Leeds for a few months, and then we took it on tour.
And are you enjoying playing Charlie?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's such a big opportunity. I just love it so much.
And I believe this is your first time in Ireland. This is the first time in Dublin as well. Like, I mean, this stage is pretty big, right?
Yeah, it's huge, and I'm loving Ireland so much.
In terms of school, then, you're obviously in school at the moment. What year are you in?
Year 8.
Oh, so how does that work then with your tutoring?
I do tutoring from 9 till 12, and then after tutoring I go to the theatre and I do the shows.
And then you do the shows just like that?
Yeah.
Easy breezy, lemon squeezy.
Yeah.
And what's the plan? Where do you hope to end up?
I hope to end up in the West End.
The West End! I can see you in the West End someday. So that's the goal, that's the dream.
Definitely.
All right, absolutely. And no better man to play Charlie here. Anyway, it wouldn't be Ireland AM without a little bit of a challenge here this morning. And we're going to climb the ladder up here because I believe we have got Monty the Square. Good morning, Monty. Monty doesn't talk, but anyway, this is one of the iconic moments, I believe, in the show, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Are we ready to count me in? So, Charlie, on 3, 2, 1. Hey! Oh, there we go. Come here. Where can we find out more online, by the way?
Well, you can go to the Bord Gáis Theatre website, and there are still some tickets available, and we're playing until January the 7th.
January the 7th.
Yeah.
Lots of fun, lots of products to be had. BordGáisAntitheatre.com is where you'll find out more online. It sounds like a great one, doesn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Back to you in studio. I want to go with that again. You up for it, Monty?
Thank you so much.
Kids would love that.
Few little issues with the signal there, but
Yeah.
thank you, Derek, for doing that. For us.
Battled through it.
He
One of my
does
favourite
indeed.
songs in Willy Wonka.
What is it?
Come with me and you'll see a world of pure imagination.
Yeah, Derek was good too now.
There you go. Lots more still to come in the final hour. We're getting steamy in the studio. Tommy's been looking forward to this all morning. Sex educator Jenny Keane is sharing her top pleasure picks for your Christmas list.
Yes, looking forward to that. Plus, we are highlighting the hidden hazards for your pets at this time of year.
And we've got festive fashion on the catwalk. That's what Tommy wants to do today, rather than the second choice. Back with you in a minute on Ireland AM.
Very welcome back. Now, this hour we are talking everything from pleasure, we'll get to that in a minute, to pooches. First up, 'tis the season to spoil your loved ones, and that includes your pets. So Nancy is here helping us pet-proof our homes for the holidays. And she's got little Loki here as well. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Little Loki, I mean, I see you have the Christmas jumper there. Is it about spoiling your pets this Christmas?
It's about loving your pets, and sometimes people think spoiling their pets is doing the wrong things and like indulging with them, whereas things like a little dog who's a little bit cold, putting a jumper on them, keeping them warm is spoiling them, but it's also looking after their needs.
Everybody is trying to get a hold of
I know.
Loki. What age is he?
So he's only 10 weeks old. He was found dumped at 6 weeks old on a railway track. So he's now looking for a home, so that's why he's here.
I think you might have one in this face. All right. Nancy, we'll catch up with you a little bit later on. Alan's over looking at the fashion. What's going up, Al?
Yes, the forever fashionable Mandy Marr is here. What are you going to show us this morning, Mandy?
So this morning, Alan, it's all about festival brunch fashion, which is like, obviously this time of year we're all meeting up with friends and family for brunch dates, and that's exactly what we're going to show you this morning. Some great fashion, very mixture, and what I actually really love about this morning's fashion is that you can easily mix and match, which I'm a big fan on. So at least all the pieces you have, you'll be able to put with other pieces in the wardrobe and getting lots of wear out of them, which I think is very important this time of year.
Okay, looking forward to that. That's coming up a little later on. Now, I've volunteered to test all these out a little later on. What have we got?
The wonderful Jenny Keane, our expert, is here giving us her top toy picks for when you're feeling frisky over the festive period. Is that what we're doing, Jenny?
That's it, like how to spice it up a little bit.
I mean, come on, we all
Get a
deserve
little
our
bit hot this
presents,
winter.
don't we? We're giving you right now a warning, because we get it. This might not be for you. You might have children in the house. This is coming up at 9:20. It's not for everyone. You do not have to watch, but also it's just a little bit of fun. And wait until you see Tommy's face during all of this. He's going to die. Now, from one Willy to another. Derek's playing Willy Wonka this morning. How are things going, Derek?
I cannot believe you said that. That is hilarious, word. We are bringing you right behind the scenes here this morning. VIP access to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and a stage show like this wouldn't get up off the ground without a fantastic production team. Michael, lots of lighting, lots of sound in this show.
We've got a lot of lights dotted around, a lot of sounds to fill a big space here at Bord Gáis. We've got 310 lights dotted around, and they're all controlled to do different things during the show.
And you're familiar with this theatre because you've been here before?
Yeah, I was here with Singing in the Rain. That was just for a week, but it was lovely here.
All right, good man, Michael, from me and all the crew here. Hello, Monty, give us a big wave. He's very furry and he's very friendly as well. Back to you in studio.
He sure is very furry, Derek. My kids would love that. Thank you very much. Now, very best of luck with that. Now, earlier on, we were talking about a number of different things. We were talking about Christmas mishaps, about everybody wanting the perfect Christmas, but it's actually the cock-ups, the funny things that people remember the most. So we've loads of text messages in, something like, Una, I asked my eldest son to put the turkey turkey into the fridge in our shed. Instead, he put it into the freezer, and it takes approximately 2 days to thaw out the turkey. To be fair, everyone took it in the Christmas spirit, as they do. My nephews thought it was the best Christmas dinner ever. Chicken goujons were much nicer than turkey.
I love this from Tina. I got a gorgeous big plastic red pram from Santa as a child, and when I went back to play with it after Christmas dinner, it was like a scene from a horror movie with melted red plastic dripping off the frame all over my new doll as I put it in front of the fire to keep Dolly warm.
Nightmare on Elm Street at Christmas time is what's going on. Keith.
Oh,
this is Tommy's been laughing at this for ages. Mum has always gone on a massive pre-Christmas cleaning and decorating spree. We all know it. One year when I was 10, I decided to help her with the painting. I'm such a good child. She asked me to shake the paint can. I did, and all 5 litres went over the brand new carpet.
Oh, you'd go
My
mad.
poor mother trying to skip the paint back into the tin is something we can now only laugh about recently. We spent close to what it to be 3 hours walking on towels trying to pick up the last of the paint.
Love it, love it.
Oh,
we had one like this as well, actually. We used to always have Christmas dinner at my aunt's house. My mum's contribution was to bring the ham. Our dog managed to get a hold of the cooked ham, but the funniest memory ever was seeing her chase around the garden with a brush and a slice of ham to try and get the ham back. Anyway, she managed to retrieve it, sliced off the dog's teeth marks, and delivered it to my aunt, who didn't have a clue. Needless to say, my siblings and I all declined the offer.
I'll have no ham this year. No ham, thanks.
That's amazing.
But, and I'm not sure many of you would have this, you know, the table that comes out and you put the middle bit in when you've people over. Tina, picture this dining room table, Christmas Day, looking fabulous, all the family seated around, when suddenly the whole middle just collapsed. Candle, wine, the whole shebang. I forgot to put the leg under the middle piece, which makes the table. Do you know when you pull the leg out to stable it? So the whole thing just went collapsed. Love it.
Love it. Jackie, the oven broke on Christmas Eve. I had to go to the shed and cook the 22-pound turkey on the barbecue.
Oh, God. Well done. Fair play.
Says it worked. Well done, Jackie. Well done.
We had Jack O'Keefe earlier on. We were asking him about his, and he said his granny mixed coffee instead of gravy granules and poured
it all over every dinner before anyone. So
it was on the dinner.
Yeah.
Oh, she poured it on every dinner.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, Christmas mishaps. That's what it's all about. Fair play.
Delicious. Thank you so much for all of those. Now, he wants to keep on reading these. But
Yeah,
we're going to move on, my love. We're moving on to something
Let's
else.
talk
Now,
about-
this is a parental warning, okay? This is not for small ears, small eyes. Maybe some of you are adults. You're not into this either. But we've given you loads of warning. You don't have to watch it, because up next, Jenny Keane
Now people are going to watch.
is showing us how to have an X-rated Xmas with a selection box of toys.
Yes, parents, you have been warned. Little ears maybe out of the sitting room. Me included.
What's wrong with your
Back
little
after
ears?
this.
You're very. Look at that. We'll talk to you in a minute.
They do come back. It's worth watching.
I said it's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes.
I am getting so hot, I want to take my clothes off. He is about to die. It's getting very hot in here. So now is the time to remove any little ones from the room. You're a tall one. You have to stay. You've had your warning.
We'll see if I do stay.
I don't know if we're going to make
Santa
it.
is getting saucy this Christmas, and sex educator Jenny Keane is here with her top pleasure picks. Good morning to you, Jenny. Listen, there's been plenty of warning out there. We've done our bit. We're here to talk about the adult Christmas presents.
Absolutely.
Do you see a rise in people buying gifts like this around Ireland?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think as the conversation around sex has become more open and acceptable, I think, you know, in public, the kind of explosion of buying sex toys has also become a thing. But, you know, one thing that I always say about sex toys is that there is something on the market for absolutely everybody.
Okay.
But the problem is that there's so much variability and so much variety is that oftentimes people don't know what to choose or where to start, right?
Yeah.
And then when they do get them, you're required to kind of invest quite a bit of money into them, and then they don't know how to use them, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're going to tell them which ones to get, and then it's up to them then to work out how to use them.
Yeah, okay. So because we're talking more and more about people, women going into menopause and how they've been told, oh, that's it, your sex life life is over and that's not it, and we're having more of those chats. And then for couples who are in relationships, there's more and more concentration on having a chat, especially when you have kids and you're not connecting anymore and you can feel like you're apart. So,
and sex toys as well are really great they're amazing tools, right? So if you're trying to, you know, sensitize any parts of your body or experience different types of pleasure or sensation, they can aid in that, you know. So when you're talking about menopause, for example, you know, being able to stimulate different parts of the body is really important for arousal, for example. And they're, as I said, they're great tools and great ways to experience different types of things, you know.
Okay, well, let's get into it then. So, pick number one. We're going for the Femme Fun Ultra Wand Mini.
This one.
Okay.
I got this earlier on this year to test, and it became my absolute favourite toy in the entire world. So generally, wands, they're made famous by Sex and the City, you know, Hayachi wands.
Okay,
and they're quite large, right?
Not so mini.
This is exactly.
Now, this is the one that the joke with Samantha that it was a back massager.
Absolutely, but it also is a massager.
Yeah.
So it's really good for relieving stress and tension in the body, which we know is really important for experiencing pleasure, because relaxation is really important.
Right.
I mean, if you're sitting at a desk there, Tommy, you can stick that on the back here.
Great, nothing to see here.
The Ireland AM office is going to be some crack after this, I tell you, lads.
That is actually a very good massager.
It
there
is,
you go.
yeah.
But if you saw that coming at you, you might have a heart attack.
I know, which is why I love this one, right? It's a
Okay.
little more, I think it's a little more acceptable and like less intimidating in the bedroom, but it's absolutely fantastic. It has a flexible head.
This thing's got a world of its own. How do you turn it off?
See, people don't know how to work these
And then
things.
this one also as well has a lightning button on it. So it means that you can press it and basically go to the highest setting and the fast, like the most power.
Okay.
And I think the thing that's really great about the wands is that you want the power in them to relax and massage and release tension out of the muscles, right?
Okay.
Because you want the blood to flow. More
So you
blood
want-
equals more sensation,
and if
more
you need the
sensation
lightning,
equals more
get
pleasure.
rev things up.
Now.
Could you use this? Like obviously you can use solo, but like do you
And partner
encourage
as
something
well.
for partners
Absolutely.
as well?
And this is great. Like, it's so small, you can put it, like, if you're going for a sexy little getaway at Christmas time, pop it in your bag, you know, it's not gonna take up all the room.
Exactly. We're going to move on
The
to
one-
getting digits involved.
The Dame Fin. Yeah, so I always say...
Dame Fin.
Yes,
Okay.
if there is absolutely one toy a couple should include in their toolkit.
Right.
It should be a finger vibrator. So this one is probably my favourite on the market in terms of the hardware. It's really, really incredible.
90 quid though, not cheap, is it?
But it's something. So the problem is that, or the thing about it is when you spend more money, you're getting really good hardware, really good material, which means it's lasting for a really long time.
So you get what you pay for.
And this is like, so it's great, like it's an extension of your finger. And so really great for like activating erogenous zones, so like around the neck, around the ears, the breasts, and also as well, when we think about pleasure, particularly for vulva owners and women, we know that 70% of women need clitoral stimulation in order to orgasm. When it turns into partnered or penetrative sex, that number goes down to 18% of women orgasm.
Yep.
So having something like this, right, means that you can put on your finger, it's not going anywhere, right, which is great. And it means like when you're in different positions,
Can
like
multitask.
spooning, for example, you can add that clitoral stimulation, which increases the chance of pleasure and orgasm. So I think this is great. Couples need something like this.
So that's the Dame Fin finger vibrator.
Yeah.
Okay, now the next one.
Normally Alan always goes home with something from when we do a demonstration. I wonder what he's going to go
Let's
home with tonight.
Stop. Right. Okay, so we're going backdoor now for the Cristalino, the whip.
Yeah, well, I think so. When it comes to anal pleasure and sex toys, the one thing you need to be really conscious of is that it needs a wide base, right? Because unlike, for example, the vaginal canal, it has the cervix to stop. The rectum can actually suck toys in, so that's why you need the flared base on all anal toys. It's why they're different to other types of toys.
Oh!
It's you having a heart attack.
Well, you know when you see those stories, those medical stories about things, someone accidentally sitting on things.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
because
flared
base.
You have a good lead on this one
Well,
too. That ain't going nowhere, is it?
Tampon, yeah. An anal tampon.
Sorry, what is that?
So this part here,
all of it.
Big,
all
isn't
of it.
it?
So I chose this one because it's a different type of material. It's Brazilic glass. So any kind of material like stainless steel or this type of glass, very durable, non-porous. But it means that you can add in sensation play. So you could put this. It's glass.
But no.
Oh, it's an anal plug.
Okay. There we go. I was like, what is it? What does it do? I didn't know.
Yeah. So it's for penetrative anal play.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
So
there you go.
But the really good thing is that you can add in sensation play. So you could put this in cold water and kind of make the glass cold. You can also hold it in your hand, bring it to room temperature, which is really important for anal pleasure.
Gonna make it cold as well.
And hot.
There's no doubt that talking about stuff like this is funny, but this
part. So I chose this toy because when I talk about anal pleasure, I always say it's really important to think about warming up the ass as an erogenous zone, right?
Come on, let's move on. Right. So what's this next one then? We have
double fun. This is great for
fun, right.
do you know, this is great for couples who might be spending Christmas apart.
Okay.
Right? So this toy is from Satisfyer and it's dual stimulation. So let's say you'd pop it in and it'll have clitoral stimulation here, G-spot stimulation here. But the great thing about it is that it actually comes with a little remote control, right? So you can control it from different rooms or over the Christmas dinner table.
Christmas dinner table.
Imagine. But the amazing thing is it also is activated with an app as well. And so with the app, you can actually control it like from entirely different countries. You and your partner can connect on the app. And your partner can control the stimulation, the intensity of it. You can also add music. So you can also add a playlist. So it's actually really good fun. Tommy, you're dying. But this is really important for people who want to, you know, curate a really beautiful experience for each other while being at a distance,
lost
you know.
Dare over Christmas, or you're like, you have to wear it, and I can use it whenever I want. That would be amazing.
Right, so that's the Satisfyer double fun.
Now let's talk about something of yours.
Oh my God, yes. What's this? This is the sex blanket.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
So I opened up my own online sex toy shop this year.
Yes,
congratulations.
Moment.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much, and I was actually looking for a sex blanket to bring into the store, and I couldn't find one that I liked because it was very plastic. So I don't know about you, but like I'm very sensory orientated. I wouldn't really be interested in some plastic rubbing, you know, while things are going on around me.
It's a bit Dexter.
This is basically like any kind of innocuous throw that you'll put over your bed or your sofa, and it's waterproof on both sides and absorbable. So it means then it's absorbing all the mess. Like, do you know that moment after sex where someone's grabbing a tissue or a towel, right? This is like already it's going underneath you. And I have to say as well, if there's anybody out there that experiences really difficult menstrual cycles and where their period is very heavy, I would have had this and I would have been sleeping on about 3 towels to avoid any soakage or whatever in the bed. Well, this is something,
it's
right?
something that you can get. They keep on trying to. Can everyone, Anthony? Do you want to just come straight into his face there?
If anybody goes to Christmas at somebody's house this weekend or this Christmas and sees one of these blankets, I wouldn't be sitting on it. If I was you.
I actually put this under my Christmas tree because I needed like something.
Well, so just in case you get frisky around the Christmas tree.
Listen, Jenny, we haven't had you back since you announced your pregnancy. Congratulations.
Yeah, you look fantastic.
You look fantastic.
You look fantastic.
Jenny's launched her own website, and that's one of them. It is o-moment.com. Jenny Keane, thank you for always giving me a Christmas present of Tommy Bowes' embarrassed face. Mwah. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Jenny, for that.
Always a pleasure.
We got there. Still lots more to come here on Ireland AM.
Just off to have a heart attack. You are very welcome back. Now we've got the perfect outfits for all your upcoming brunch dates.
Yes, if you're invited on a brunch date, the marvellous Mandy Marr is here with expert style advice. Good morning to you, Mandy.
Good morning to you both.
Hi. So we're all going to brunch, are we?
We're all heading to brunch, and I've got such a brunch. So it sounds very posh, doesn't it? But it's a lovely fashion this morning because they're really classy pieces that I have to show you. Obviously for the festive season.
Okay. Michelle is look one this morning.
So look one, we're heading to Friday's Edit, which is an online company. And I'm loving this.
This is a very posh brunch. I was dressed down for brunch.
Oh for God's sake, no, we're going all out. We're posh. This is the festive season, but I love this. And we've seen quite a few of these style jackets on the runway, as you know, over the last while.
Jackets are always around.
They're always around, and it's exactly it, Muireann. They don't date. They're always in fashion, but I'm loving the beige in this. It's a beautiful colour. Again, like that, it's easy. Team the jacket with lots of other pieces, but gorgeous brass buttons on it. They also have it in blue, but I particularly loved this colour of the beige. It's classic. It's very, very elegant.
And then comfortable trousers.
Yeah, and we went then very simple, kept it very simple with these satin wide leg trousers. And again, like that, we've been speaking, and you've known about with the fashion themes over the last couple of weeks, we've done quite a lot on the wide leg trousers.
Now, these are more than wide leg.
They actually, they are, and they are very wide leg, but they're very, very dressy, and of course, because they're satin as well. They have a high waist in them, which is also another thing what I really, really like, so they're quite comfortable, and a belt as well. As I said, very pair-back outfit, really, in a way, but yet making a statement at the same time.
Really
the mimosas have started. Michelle, thank you so much for that one.
Lovely on you, really does.
Look,
very classy.
It's very classy and elegant.
Classic.
And this is the thing about pieces like that, they're timeless. And that's what's also great about it.
And this is Georgia today.
So this is Georgia, and we're staying with Friday's edit. And again, like that, from a brunch point of view, you said it, Alan, what do you wear? Do you go casual? Do you go dressy? But obviously, because of the time of year it is, that's the reason we went with something like this. I'm loving this top. It's really, really, to me, very feminine top. It's simple cotton, little pearl buttons down the front, and it has a gorgeous little collar as well. So it's very feminine, very simple.
Yeah, the cutout sort of is very Laura Whitmore.
Isn't it? I'm loving it. I just think this is just beautiful.
And you've obviously tucked it in here. It is long.
We have, Alan. We tucked it in then with this gorgeous skirt. And again, like that, it's a very, very simple skirt. But what I love about this, from a styling point of view, there's so much you can do with this. We obviously teamed with this cream top today, but what you can do, I think this would be also beautiful with a black polo neck and a little biker jacket. And you can completely change that look around a pair of knee-high boots.
Knee-high boots, runners, everything.
It's a keepsake, isn't it? It's really, really beautiful. It has a gorgeous gold fleck as well in the skirt as well to keep in with the festive theme. But I'm loving this. Really classy, very elegant look. And I would say always with pieces like this, pull back on the accessories, which you've noticed today. I haven't even added accessories with this because you don't need them. Keep it very, very simple.
Lovely.
Okay, now
Aisling is look free.
Yeah, so we're heading to Tullamore, to Solo Boutique in Tullamore, and I'm delighted to showcase Paula's boutique this morning because again, like that, we're heading off for the day. We want to wrap up warm, and that's exactly what we've done with this. This particular scarf, what I love about it is it has a star print detail on it. It's black, but there's a cream version at the other side, so it's a two-way scarf.
It's so Kate Moss. There was a few years ago, everything she wore was star, so I bought every single star thing I could find to be like Kate Moss.
And
coat, lovely coat.
Yes, and we've been seeing again quite a lot of this, the faux fur coat. It is the time of year for it, obviously with the festive season, nice and warm, and it is very warm. I know Ashley was saying she was overheating before we came on, but it's lovely. And again, they have it here. We were actually debating about the colour on this. To me, this is a very much kind of a really deep winter white. The girls were saying more beige. So we're kind of, I don't know.
I'd say winter white.
Winter white as well.
Muireann,
what do you use? I don't know what.
Grey.
That's the kind of, kind of.
I don't see any beige.
No, I don't see any beige.
Don't start with you now. Because the stars are beige, so it's definitely
it's kind of on that shade. We teamed it up then with a very, very simple dress. Now, I do want to note on this, the dress is probably quite short, but it is, Aisling, as we were saying, she is 5'11", so she's quite tall as well. But it has that gorgeous little fun fur cuff, as you can see there on the sleeve as well. Very in theme with the time of year, and it has the pockets, of course, as well.
Gorgeous.
Lovely.
Again, the cutout detail that are going on there as well.
Yeah.
And you just put a little bag with it.
Then we just teamed up with a gorgeous little bag with this quilted designer-inspired bag, and we have little gloves matching as well on the stars as well. So it's all bringing the whole thing together. I'm loving this. Very, very simple.
Lovely.
Thank you very much,
Thanks so
Aisling.
much, Aisling. Aisling had about 50 million things to
She
show
did.
there.
She absolutely did.
And
she did great. Thanks, Aisling.
Oh, look at this.
Oh, Michelle has 50 million things to show as well.
She does, but sure, listen, when we're all out, we're all out. We're heading on a good
well,
brunch
let's
and
start
date.
with this coat.
So again, a faux fur coat, and this is probably definitely more on the cream shade, but to me, I just think this looks very luxurious and very rich looking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's very Notorious B.I.G.,
isn't it? It's really fabulous. And again, from Solo Boutique in Tullamore, But again, it has a belt detail. We could have put it on, obviously, Michelle, but we wanted to keep it on the shoulder because I have a fabulous trouser suit to show underneath, and there was way too much to take off. Teamed it up then with a gorgeous little bag, as you can see here, fun fur bag.
So they're matching.
They are
What are
matching.
the same? Fur bags.
Yeah, it's huge on trend. Really, really big on trend for the season.
Beautiful.
So that bag is actually matching it, is it?
It is indeed, yeah.
Let's go to this suit.
It's in this gorgeous,
beautiful colour.
So as we see,
you buy them separately.
You can buy them separately, and what I love about this is that it's a really unusual colour. It's that rust colour. It's velvet. It's definitely very time of year. It's again, and as I said, probably more so the colour. They have these in a couple of colours, but this in particular I just loved.
So it's like a waterfall blazer that they have going on
It
there.
is indeed.
Okay.
And again, like that, we know it's women. I think it's so important to mix and match with their wardrobes, and that's what I love about this. You could easily pop this with a gorgeous black polo and a little pair of black waxy leggings, and off you go as well for a different
put a little
look.
cami underneath it.
We did, Alan. We added the cami sole. It has that beautiful lace detail, again, giving that feminine vibe, and it has that little bit of that lace actually coming down the sleeve on that cami as well.
Oh, okay.
The trousers look beautiful. They're really beautifully cut,
aren't they?
They look really nice
and
cut.
very,
yeah.
very tailored. And again, like that high-waisted, great length from a point of view of that they're not too long from a point of view of from a height, obviously, because sometimes we find that the lengths we're finding fierce hassles with them.
Yeah.
But this works really, really well. Very glamorous, chic look. Loving the colour in particular from Solo Boutique in Tullamore.
Lovely,
So something for everybody, and it's
Something
great,
for everyone.
absolutely, and it's nice to dress up this time of year as well for the
Oh, it
brunch
is
date. So,
indeed.
as we say, Alan, all we're waiting for is the phone
They'll
call to be
invite-
invited out.
You get the invite. Mandy Mara, thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Break time now. Tommy, what's coming up next?
He'll tell us in a while. Back
Oh,
with
is
you
he
in a
not
minute.
here? Okay.
See you in a minute.
Now Christmas is on the way and Warren's decided to dress. Frankie is here dressed up and with 1 in 5 people. What
were you going to say?
Spending more on their pets than their partners. Owners around the country will be puppy-proofing their pads in time for the celebration.
Here to tell us how to look after your furry friends during the festive season is dog behaviourist Nancy Creedon. Good morning to you, Nancy.
Good morning.
And thank you for staying with us.
No
And I
worries.
mean, we always hear it, dogs are not for Christmas, they're
No.
for life. So at this time of year, that is the message that you'd love to put out there as
really
well.
is so critically important. And at the minute, Ireland, the welfare industry in Ireland is absolutely on its knees. We're getting to the stage that dogs are starting to be put to sleep again because there's not enough homes. So if anyone out there is thinking about buying a puppy for Christmas, just stop. Just do not do it. Please do not do it. These dogs are desperate for homes. There's thousands of dogs across Ireland desperate for homes. Puppies are not for Christmas. Dogs are not for Christmas. They're family members. Adopt. Do not shop for dogs.
And little Loki here was only found, what, 6 weeks ago?
He was found at 6 weeks. He's only
Oh, well,
10 weeks old now. He was dumped at a railway track.
Dumped at a
Poor
railway
Rosemary was dumped as well with her siblings. So it's happening the whole time. We have to be aware of it. And I mean, who does not want to take this little baby home?
I know.
Like, we're all obsessed with these puppies. They're super cute. And then you've got your older dogs, like Frankie, who's been looking for a home for almost a year and keeps getting overlooked. And he's perfect.
He's a
Do you know?
gorgeous
He
dog
needs
as
a
well,
family.
with a great temperament, and it's just
Yeah.
so important too. Listen, we have them, particularly Frankie dressed up. He's game for anything. A lot of people, we talked earlier on about people getting themselves into debt and spending so much money at Christmas. What's your take on people really going and forking out and spending so much money on their pets?
I think that what we need to remember is spoiling our dogs can be a good thing. Spoiling your dogs as though you're a parent and nurturing them and giving them what they need, happy days. But what we have is people spoiling dogs like their grandparents. And they're thinking, oh, we'll fill them up with cheap, gimmicky treats and we'll do whatever the dog wants without working on training, without ensuring that the dog's needs are met. So if you want to spend anything on your dog, spend time with your dog. Make a bucket list. What are the things my dog would love to do? Do they want to go hiking? Do they want to go to
How
the
do
beach?
you know if your dog wants to go hiking?
They'll go.
Well, they'll go.
They'll take you up that mountain. And obviously taking into consideration your dog's age, its physical ability and so on. But bringing them somewhere that they can look at horses in the distance or like nice new places. Do experiences with your dogs. Don't just think about spending money on
And what
them.
about people who might think that dogs that we've had like years and years ago, dogs were just, they were got and they were outside and that's where they should have been and they may go for a walk. But you don't see that anymore. Dogs have become like nearly part of the family.
Yeah, well, you got to remember, they're a man-made species. We made them to want to be with us. And then, yeah, we did use them for working and they were left outside a lot. They didn't like that back then. They wanted to be on the couch. They still want to be on the couch. So if we love our dogs like family members, it's totally cool to let them be family members, do you know?
What do you think about this? Like, they're dressing them up and you see some of them like, and they're, it's nearly for Instagram pics.
It's a controversial subject, and my go-to is if your dog is eating while you're doing something with them, they're consenting to it. So what I like to do if we're going to dress our dogs is we pair it with food, and anything you want the dog to do, if they're eating, you can carry on. So I'll put the treat through the dog's jumper, let her start eating it, and pull it over her neck. If at any stage she stopped eating, I'd stop dressing her. And then you can grab another treat for her, and again, we're getting...
Is she just letting you do it because she's getting a treat?
Yeah.
But then how do you know that she is enjoying it then?
How much more attention are these dogs getting all dressed up? How much more positive interactions with strangers are they getting because they're wearing cute, gimmicky things?
I put these on my dog, though, and you can see her, she's trying to get, like, well, we don't put it on her anymore because she gets fed up with it. You know?
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It's not what they're used to.
Obviously, you'll know your dog. So if they're showing signs after it's on that they don't like it, yes, you can take it off. But with breeds like lurchers and shorter-coated dogs, they enjoy being warm. So having that extra warmth on them, you'll see they're curled up, they're more relaxed, they're enjoying their day
But it
that little
depends
bit
on what
better.
Tommy was trying to put on his dog.
I know.
An outfit. What about Christmas decorations? Because particularly when you have a young pup like that, the whole bottom couple of branches, everything looks very shiny, very edible, very,
very attractive. So we are filling our houses with toys for dogs, and then the dog's like, why can't I play with this? So you're using your management, so making sure you can kind of restrict your dog's access to the tree and stuff. But the one warning that I'm trying to spread the word of at the minute is we know about antifreeze being dangerous for dogs and cats because they like the taste of it, they lick it up, and it's toxic for them.
Oh, really? They like the taste of
they love it.
antifreeze?
Yeah, it's super sweet. But the problem is snow globes have antifreeze in it.
So we have a snow globe here front. So this type of thing you're talking about.
So if that got knocked over and cracked open, your dog or your cat will run over and lick the fluid before you go and get the dustpan. It can kill them. So if you have a snow globe at home and you've dogs or cats at home, think twice. And it's one that I didn't know about until last Christmas.
Keep it away from where it might fall and break.
Exactly.
Or if it does, keep the dog out of the way immediately.
Just be aware of it, because a lot of people, including myself, wasn't aware of that. I knew the antifreeze was toxic and you keep that away, but the snow globes, hidden danger.
What about cats, say, love to climb the Christmas tree?
I know. Again, management, again, putting something that'll block it. But what I like to do with any animal, if we want them to ignore something, when you're exposing them to it, pair it with something even better. So when your cat sees the tree for the first time, you've got like a robotic mouse running around the room, or you've got the best cat toys and treats going on.
Yeah.
So when they enter the room, it's like, oh, there's a tree, whatever. But oh my God, look what else is in this room.
Like children, distract them.
Distract you the whole time.
Very good. But listen, the
Can I just ask you then, if people really do want and they're serious about getting a pet for Christmas, to do it properly, like we're hearing all this about puppy farms and stuff like that. How do we know? How can we be sure that we're not getting it?
To be honest, in my career, when I work with clients who have purchased their dogs, I want to say at least 95% of the time they've purchased dogs from places that I wouldn't have recommended they bought the dogs from.
Do they not know?
They do not know.
Right.
They do not know. My general rule is if the puppies are outdoors, they're not really getting what they needed because they should be in the house. But there's rescue centres up and down Ireland. We've got Frankie is from Macara Animal Rescue in Thurles and Tipperary, and we've got Loki's from Royal Dublin Dog Rescue.
So go to the dog rescue service. There's thousands of dogs who are looking for a home.
And they're being put to sleep. So we have to take responsibility now. These dogs need homes.
Nancy Creedon, thank you so much for coming in and talking to us with a great message. Beautiful dogs. Now, that is all we have time for today. All right, there. We have a busy show tomorrow. 30 years since the band formed Take That are going to reminisce with
we're
their
in
favourite
chance to
era.
take that.
Certainly
And she's named one of the 10 European shooting stars of 2022. Actress Claire Dunn tells us about her latest
Plus,
product.
we've got the best children's books to read at Christmas back here tomorrow. Bye.